Hello everyone and welcome to Club at 22 live on YouTube. As always, get involved in the comments, and if you would be so kind, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I am your host, Scott Carney, back off of paternity week off, and I would first of all like to thank the gentleman for stepping in for me last week. For you that follow my socials, I realised there was slight complications with the birth of my boy, but everything is all good now. I'm happy to report, so I'm back in action, and as you can see, only Ryan's been fired. So, Ali, how are you?
Very well. Yep, that's Ryan been fired. So that will be the rumours going now. He's gone, never to return again. So that is him gone. So, no, obviously I've said it umpteen times now, Carney, but congratulations to yourself and your good missus on the arrival of young Carter. I did say in the last podcast, hopefully in 18 years' time, we'll be seeing him pulling that top on for the famous Glasgow Rangers, and you can retire and just live off his money.
Oh yes, mate, that is the plan. He's either going to be that or like a snooker player or something and making like stupid money doing that. Definitely got something like that in the pipeline for him. Scotia, how are you, mate? Thank you for your controlling of the podcast last week, mate. I was very impressed. Your techers is better than mine.
Oh, when you're saying that, the controlling stuff, and then when you were saying that it was only Ryan to get fired, I had the real fear about me that I didn't end the podcast properly, obviously, because we were live. I just had the fear, and I was like, boys, just because we were obviously in the studio afterwards as well, I was like, boys, don't say anything that you wouldn't say all live at the moment, just so I could double check with that. But thankfully, it didn't go off with a hitch there. So, no, good to be back. Things are starting to get confirmed for real now in the world of Rangers, so we can kind of swerve the transfer speculation a wee bit more than we have been over the last few months. And just like Ali there, just a massive congratulations to you on the birth of your boy.
Yes, thank you very much. I was saying to you just before we come on air there, as if I didn't know already, but life is very different. It's a very different experience now. All of a sudden, there's a massive responsibility on your hands. But no, it's great. Look, again, I don't want to go on about too much because there's a certain guy that leaves comments all the time that hates that we talk about our personal life. But I want to thank everybody that was all the kind messages that I got from everybody that listens and watches. It was brilliant, honestly, really, really good. But I'm happy to report he's home, he's healthy, and he's eaten me out of a house and a home already. So no, it's incredible, really is incredible. Anyway, we'll move on from my soppy life story. So thank you to the response for the next level supporter membership via YouTube. I really do appreciate the amount of people that decided to step up and sign up to that. Really, really appreciated. Also, don't forget, if you sign up to our next level membership or our coffee buying membership, you will receive a unique discount code to be used at 22merch.bigcartel.com. Loads of Rangers designs and podcast merch on there already, with much more coming over the season. And there's also a giveaway happening on happening right now on the 22 Merch Twitter page to win this exact t-shirt. Well, not this exact t-shirt. Well, maybe this exact t-shirt. People like that kind of stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
People like that
stuff.
So
spray with your aftershave, Carney.
Yeah, if you want this exact t-shirt, then yes, please let me know. But no, you can win a copy of that. So if you go over to the Twitter page and follow the instructions on the pinned tweet, then you'll be entered into the draw for that. It will close tomorrow night at 6 p.m, so be quick. And all links for everything that I've just spoke about is in the description for this podcast. So first of all, unfortunately, gentlemen, we need to start on a bit of another sad note with a legend loss. We've obviously not been on air since it was announced that Andy Goram has sadly passed. So he passed after losing his battle with cancer at the age of 58. No real age for anyone to be taken, and it really is tragic just how quickly he lost these battles. There's been many tributes from all over the world of football, which has been really nice to see, and shows just kind of how highly regarded he was as a goalkeeper and as a man. Ali, it's hard to sum up what Andy Goram probably means to all three of us, considering we grew up watching Andy Goram. He was the goalkeeper. He always was the goalkeeper. So to me, mate, and it's probably maybe the same to you, I don't know, but he'll always be the goalie in the same way that Goff will always be the captain.
Yeah, that's like you say, we've grown up during that 9-0 season when Andy Goram was breaking their hearts. In particular, Tommy Burns says when he passed away, he wanted on his gravestone, and Andy Goram broke his heart, because the amount of times we went to Parkhead, they would batter us and we would get away with a 1-0 and Andy Goram would put on a show. The amount of times we did that at Parkhead was unbelievable, because they battered us. Let's be honest, they battered us and we got away with it. But he was some goalkeeper, Andy Goram. Obviously, we've been lucky enough to meet him, spent a bit of time with him. Great guy. Would talk to you all day about stories. He wasn't the type of guy. You meet sometimes you meet your heroes, if you want to say, and they're not what you think they are. They might talk to you, but then want you to go away. He wasn't like that at all. He would sit and talk to you and play a game of pool with you, Carney, as well. Let you win too, so that was nice of him. But
let me win.
Yeah, let you win. But no, what more can you say about him? Was a fantastic goalkeeper for us in his career, and you look through his career and stuff, what he did. And with Hibs, he was played cricket for Scotland as well.
Mm-hmm.
Played for Man United for 3 months after a spell in Motherwell. So yeah, it's a shame. I mean, it's a horrible disease, cancer, and it really is horrible. It was a shame how quick it took effect on him, and yeah, he'll always be in our thoughts. But it's another huge legend of the club lost in the last 12 months in terms of all the people we've lost. But condolences obviously go to his family and stuff. But I'll always remember him for the saves he made. I mean, the one against Big Honky Donk, I always say that was what a save that was. And
yeah,
you go through all his saves. Honestly, and you have the discussion of who's better, Gorham or McGregor. It's difficult because they're different types of. McGregor, I'd say, is more of a modern day goalkeeper, but fantastic goalkeeper, Andy Goram. I'll always remember him like that. So no, it's a shame, but a fantastic goalkeeper for our football club.
Absolutely, an incredible servant. Scotia, I'm trying to remain kind of upbeat about it because that's how we would. Probably how I'd be a time knowing Andy, he would probably want that. He would probably want us to remain upbeat, and it is really sad. It's awful news. But even in the times that we knew him, mate, we got to spend a bit of time with him. I think Ali was raging that he didn't have a nickname, but me and you did, mate. Andy Goram made up a nickname for me and you, mate. So, which is again, it's one of them moments in life when you're having a conversation with, and I even remember, not even the pool story I've told a million times. We come back from a game and we just stood and spoke to him about the football as if I knew him, as if I knew the guy. And I'm like, this guy was like an idol of mine growing up, and he was very approachable, a lovely guy. Even he took the time to meet my dad as well. My dad was up as one night, and a real gentleman, a real legend. I know that the word legends gets passed about a lot, but in terms of Andy Goram, Scotia, he will forever be remembered as one of, if not the greatest keeper ever to play for Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, let's first on the sort of man. We, as you say, very briefly got to know who he was when he was in the pub, and the sort of first time we walked in, you were in awe when you seen him. It was like, that's Andy Goram. Budget people, that's Andy Goram. But after that, it was like it just the way he was. He just spoke to him like you said there, and just got on with him. Just spoke about normal stuff to him. It was the same when your dad came in. He was a bit in awe when he walks in, but meet him and completely calms down. Yeah, so it was such a gent to meet in that brief period that we did, but it's a very sad loss. And then just reflecting kind of on his career as a footballer, like Ali's summed up some of them there. It was absolutely wonderful. You've said the word legend there. I would throw in the word world class, because I think it's a consensus amongst a lot of Rangers fans that Goram's probably been the only player that we've had that's been world class during their time playing for Rangers. And you know, we've had some wonderful players play for us that we'd probably throw in the world class bracket, but obviously not while they were playing for Rangers. So he was brilliant that season, 92-93 season that he had. Was absolutely magnificent. Some of the saves he was making against Leeds in the Battle of Britain, and then obviously the season after that he gets out injured. Obviously his knees start giving him a bit of jip, but the period that I remember most fondly at Rangers was probably when he came back in the 94-95 season, sort of up until the 9 in a row season, and through the 9 in a row season. It's a period I remember most fondly of them. Then I can see comments flying in, and the two of the saves that stick out for me are the Van Hooijdonk saves. The one that Ali's talking about, which I think still is up there with my favourite ever save that a Rangers keeper's ever made. We've said it a few times now talking about this, but there was the one this season was the following season when we were playing Celtic at Parkhead. I mean, I always remember this because the Fox ran onto the pitch, but Hooijdonk had a penalty. Hooijdonk had a penalty in the last minute or the last couple of minutes, and he pulled off that save. I vividly remember that game. So for Rangers, it was brilliant. As Ali said previous to that, it was pretty decent for Hibs as well. when he moved on from Rangers, I thought he had a really good career at Motherwell when he was in there, because Motherwell were playing some pretty decent stuff between the time he was there. Man U, played for Scotland. Obviously, Ali mentioned the cricket there. I think you need to get that in, but he was an absolutely brilliant keeper for the Scotland national team as well. I remember the game we played Switzerland in Euro 96. He pulled off a couple of important saves, because at that point, I think Scotland were still in with a chance of qualifying, because England were still beating the Netherlands 5-0 at that point. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out, but he had a wonderful career as a footballer, and he'll be sadly missed and gone too soon, like you say.
Absolutely. Usually when you get to a certain generation that start to pass, you'd expect them to be at a good age, and then you kind of have a reflection to yourself that you're actually getting old. And I know obviously you are getting there, but to be taken at 58 is far too soon. Far too soon. And yeah, he broke all physics rules, Andy Goram. Like the size of the guy, okay, when we've met him, he had hands the size of shovels. Generally, the guy had absolutely gigantic hands, but he wasn't a tall guy. He wasn't particularly big, but he was a fantastic goalkeeper. And as you say, mate, truly world class at points. He was probably, arguably, one of the best in the world at his absolute pomp. And yeah, just a true legend. He will never be forgotten. For those that don't know, his funeral will take place on the 18th of July, so a week on Monday. So rest in peace, Andy Goram, and all the best to his family from everybody here at Club at 22. There is no easy way for me to move on from that gentleman, so I'm just going to move on. Rangers have signed a first team player, and not only one, there's two. I don't know what's going on here. So first of all, we'll start with Antonio Kolak, or Cholak. I'm not 100% sure of the correct pronunciation of that yet. I'm really not sure. A striker, 20 years old, coming POK for a reported €2 million, three-year contract. He said to the club website, "I'm really happy to sign for Rangers. I played in front of those incredible fans already, and I now my own what it's like to be part of this huge club, to win titles and to achieve every target the club has. I want to be part of this big family, and I'm really excited and can't wait to get started." Giovanni Van Broncast added, he's a very experienced player who has played at high levels and scored a lot of goals for teams he played for. We wanted to add some more players to our attacking options, and Cholak, whatever it's going to be, is a player we welcome a lot and will give us a lot of strength up front. Ali, a Croatian striker coming to play for Rangers, big boots to fill.
Jelavic and Big Dado, to fill their boots.
Exactly.
If he's half as good as the two of them, we've won a watch, to be honest.
We have.
But I mean, I know you went on here, Carney, last week, but we said again last week the Twitter meltdown that's been happening since you were on 2 weeks ago, and it was the same last week. And I says, just calm down, it will happen. And I referenced the when we signed that, and it was Ruth, the guy that I was missing. We signed the two of them. They just get paraded instantly. They come out of the blue. The Cholak one's not out of the blue. It's been bubbling in the background. We knew it was going to happen. Tom Lawrence, a wee bit out of the blue, but we'll come on to that. But no, Cholak, 28. He looks the type of striker. I mean, whether Rangers tinker with a formation and we go 3-5-2 or whatever, or we might tinker with it next season. Yeah, to me, he's Itten's replacement. I hope he'd. Well. I don't know whether you'll come on to Kamaru later on, but he's injured again, Kamaru. And I will. Right, we'll come on to him. But no, Cholak, he's a type of striker that I think could replace Morelos when he's injured, because he looks like a penalty box striker. He can play his back to goal. He looks a big guy, physical. From what I've seen on YouTube, and honestly, YouTube makes Scotia look good as well. I mean, it would look anyone look good, but he looks a player we've been looking for in terms of what he is. He's a penalty box striker. And I seen the picture of him with McCoy's today in the training ground. That's similar to what he probably is. A guy who just puts the ball in the back of the net. That's what we want up there. And I'm delighted. And like you say, Carney, Croatian, we've had a good track record with Croatian, especially strikers. He's got two Croatian guys there to help him bed in terms of Borna and Niko Katic as well. So I listened to his interview. His English is brilliant, which you always expect from these players when they come in. But yeah, I'm excited to see him. Hopefully, we'll see a wee glimpse of him tomorrow night when we play Sunderland.
Yeah, hopefully it would be good to see him again. Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm not. What's the? I'm not like ready to get a Cholak, whatever his name is. What Scotia? Do you know? Is it Cholak or Cholak? Before I keep going with this, you correct me.
I think it is Cholak because he's
Right,
got one.
okay.
He's got like a wee over the O. There's a wee inflection over the O that makes
Right.
you say pronounce it some way. I'm sure that's true.
I'm
I could be
more
completely wrong, but I'm sure that's true.
It's a good enough explanation for me, mate, so I will go with Cholak. I'm not ready to get a tattoo of him or anything like that. It's not like ripping up the ground or ripping up the trees for me that I'm going to get really excited about, but it was an option that we needed, and he does look like he fits the bill, especially the style of play that we are going to go for. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. He does look the part. Obviously, I've seen the obligatory YouTube video as well. He does look the part. He looks quite strong as well, which is important, and especially the way we play back in a lone striker. So, no, I think he's got every chance. But Scotia, we tend to kind of agree with Ali that because of the price that we've paid, it does look a wee bit like it's the Itten replacement. However, we did sign Morelos for £1 million, so you never know.
Yeah, I'm first of all, I'm glad that the transfer is confirmed because I kind of alluded to at the start that the transfer speculation over the last couple of weeks, it feels like every week we've talked about Cholak. So I was like thinking today, is there much more I can say that I haven't already said in the previous two podcasts we've done? Because I went through all his stats and things like that. But no, good that he signed. Glad he signed up. Like Hughes, yeah. Looking at it in the transfer fee paid for it, you're like, is that an Itten replacement? And let's be honest, Itten didn't work out. And you'll get, but Morelos did, like you say there. Both were. Itten was maybe about 2.5 million. Itten was maybe, I think. Obviously, Morelos was 1 million. So you get these players in it, and he could turn out fantastic like Morelos had, or it could not work. I don't want to get off on that start, but let's be honest, that could happen. But he looks like the type of player with kind of need. I think he looks a wee bit more. Just looking at him in his interview and things like that, and watching him in YouTube, he looks a wee bit more aggressive than Itten ever was. Itten always seemed quite reserved to me, quite a reserved guy, whereas Cholak seems to be a wee bit more in your face type of player that, I think he'll settle in quite well. So I've not really got any concerns there. And it's interesting what Ali was mentioning there about, could we end up seeing a Morelos Cholak up front situation in certain games, not all the games, but in certain games, it's certainly an option. Yeah, so great that we've signed him because I think we needed a striker regardless if Itten had left, and then obviously Ali briefly alluded to Roof there as well, so we definitely needed a striker in. So glad that's been done.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like it could be a positive move. Look, again though, I always caveat this, and I'm probably the worst because I remember when I seen Herrera's YouTube video, I went, "Oh, he looks good," and he was not good. So you've got to wait and see. But everybody deserves a fair crack at the whip, and yeah, as I say, right now I'm kind of trusting the way the club are doing business. I know there, as Ali mentioned, there was quite a lot of, I don't know what you want to call it, panic, unnecessary panic, just for no reason at all. There's so much time to go in this window. The club are doing business, and we're about to come on to another one. So no, I'm not surprised. But yeah, welcome to the club. Cholak, we'll go with.
Carney.
Yes,
just
mate.
Before you move on, something I forgot to mention when I was talking about him there is potentially a really good move for him because obviously Croatia have got the World Cup coming up.
Yes.
In November there, and he's already got 3 caps. I think there's a couple of Croatian players that play out in the Bundesliga that are probably their first pick, but coming to Rangers, the chance to get into the Champions League, it could really be good for him to show and impress. So we might get quite a lot out of him, hit the ground running.
Yeah, it's a cracking point, mate. A cracking point. He's going to be wanting to get himself to the World Cup. So yeah, RFC 56 has made the comment there, Ali, and I'll come back to what you mentioned, mate. We still need another one, mate. Kemar Roof is not in Portugal with the team. Now, what do Rangers do here? I know it's in a perfect world, you'd be like, okay, it's not going to work out, etc. You kind of move him on. I'm not sure anybody's going to take him because he's so injury prone. I am now at the opinion when I'm going, we can't rely on him to be fit when we need him to be fit. And I'm not saying that Kemar Roof is not a great player. When he's fit, he will score you goals, he will, but it's like he's so brittle. He is literally so brittle. And the fact that he's not went to the training camp, which means it's longer than a couple of weeks, it's not a quick one. what do we do now? Ali, what do you think the club do? Do you think we try and keep him, try and use him when we can, or do we part ways and bring somebody else in?
It's difficult.
Because as well, mate, sorry, mate, he's going to be on a decent wage as well.
Yeah, we've paid, I would say, reasonable money for him. It was never said what we paid. It was undisclosed, but I'd imagine it was reasonable money. He'll be on a top wage. How long's he got left in his contract? Does he get 2 years?
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. So Kemar Roofe, if he's sitting on a good contract, he doesn't need to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. He can sit there tight if he wants. I said it last season. See when Morelos got injured, and we had that run-in with Europe. What was the League Cup, I think, as well? No, Scottish Cup, sorry. And the league. And I said, Kemar Roofe will not play all those games. There is no chance he'll play them. And what happened? 3-4 games in, he broke down again, and that was it. And he seems to do this, Kemar Roofe. You get probably about 10 games maximum out of him, and he'll break down. And he's out for 5, 6, God, it could be ages. But I like Kemar Roofe as a football player. I think he's a good football player, but I'm sorry, we can't have guys like him in the books that just continue. It was a punt. Rangers took a punt on him. And it's been an all right punt in terms of his return when he's been on the park, but he can't be relied on, Kemar Roofe. He's like a Jordan Rossiter type, if you want to say, made of glass. That he breaks down all the time. And if it was me, Carney, and somebody come in for him and just to get him off the wage, not even to get a transfer fee back for him, but to get him off the wage book and move him on, I would move him on and look to bring somebody else in, because as much as I like Kemar Roofe as a football player, I'm sorry. And I said it last season, we can't trust him and it's not his fault, it's his body, it's the way he's made. But no, it's a no for me with Kemar Roofe. And if I could move him on in any way or shape or form, I would move him on immediately, because we can't go with him next season at all.
Nah. Ben's made a comment, again, I don't know if this is fully true. Top goal scorer, first season, best goal to game ratio again the next.
No, he does.
But that might be the case, but he doesn't play every game, or he's not reliable enough to play every game. So, look, I'm not criticising his stats, but I'm not even criticising him as a player. It's his kind of body, I think, is starting to kind of give up on him, and we can't end up in the same situation as we were last season, where we can't rely on him when we need him there when Morelos isn't there. So, Scotia, what's your opinion on this? Do you think it's as easy as just saying thank you very much, Kemar? We're going to go another route here?
Not right at this moment. I don't think that we should be doing that, because Alfie's still in contract negotiations, or I think Gio maybe alluded to that we're starting to sit down with the players in the last year of their contract about extensions. So, like I said, we probably need another striker in because of Roofe's injuries. But then we don't know what the situation with Alfie goes is, so we could be in a situation where we're scrambling about for another top striker for us at the moment. Whereas at the moment, yes, his injuries are a pain in the neck. I think we've mentioned this right at the start when we signed him. It was common knowledge that we're getting him because he's injury prone. We're going to have to take a bit of a punt on him. And for me, at the minute, it's okay, I would say, because when he has been out, he comes back in. It doesn't take very long to get back up to match sharpness and back to scoring. Whereas with some players, you can find that if they've been out for a period of time, it'll take them a few games to get back up to match sharpness and then maybe contribute a couple of games, then get injured, where at least he's contributing for the 10, 15 games that he's playing before he's gone back out injured at the minute. So unless we've got someone that we know coming in as a striker at the moment, for me, we just have to persevere with Roofe at this exact moment.
Yeah, I get it. I get the argument for kind of both sides, but it's very frustrating when you know the kind of player that he can be, but he's made a paper mache, it seems. I just thought I think it kind of, when we heard that he wasn't in Portugal, I was just like, no, we can't continue to do this. We can't continue to wait for Kemar Roofe to be fit, which is a real shame, because he has quality. There's absolutely no doubt that there's quality there, but he's not reliable enough. So before we move on to speak about the next signing, the Tom Lawrence signing, a bit of breaking news. Manscaped have signed up Club at 22 for the coming season. Got bush? You definitely do if you haven't tried the best products from our sponsor Manscaped. Taking control of your bush is important. These products are so good, you're going to be showing pride in your new bush-free garden. It's a fact that you will have the best kept nutsack in the cul-de-sac. Save big and be the most hygienic version of yourself by using our discount code CLUBAT22 for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Crotch discomfort hurting your game? Fear no more. The kings of crotch comfort, Manscaped, have spent 2 years designing the most comfortable boxer briefs out there. Sleek, soft, comfortable and flexible, the brand new Boxers 2.0. Take your balls to the royal ball throne. The global leaders of below-the-waist grooming have the Lawnmower 4.0 for trimming, so you can wear the Boxers 2.0 for the chilling. Finish it off with the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver, the spray-on testy toner, which is Scotia's favourite. 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with the code CLUB@22. Ali, what will your balls do?
They will thank you.
They will, thank you. Thank you again to Manscaped for their continued support. Go check out their products. They are genuinely fantastic. Also, if you use our code, you'll be supporting our podcast. My boy will be so proud of me promoting shaving balls when he gets older. That's something you need to think about. So we'll jump back to Rangers news. And it's Tom Lawrence joins Rangers. Gio said he is an experienced player and he's played a lot of games in the Championship. He was captain of Derby. He will strengthen the squad and will bring his qualities to the team. He knows what it takes to be a professional player and hopefully he will create chances to score goals for Rangers. Being a stubborn football fan as I am, and I only really watch Rangers, I know fairly little about them. But going by the kind of bedwetting of Rangers Twitter, there is a very mixed response to this. Some people are all for it, some people not so much. And it's amazing how it changes as soon as he signs. All of a sudden, everybody's delighted, but before it, there was a lot of people that weren't. So he's a Welsh international. I know, Scotia, you already have an irrational hatred of him because he plays for Wales. So I'll come to you first, mate. I don't know much about him. Do you see this as a good bit of business for Rangers, the fact he's coming in a free, a kind of low risk, if you like, or is it a bit of a coup for Rangers, considering I think there was Championship teams interested in him?
Yeah, I think Sheffield United were sniffing about him as well. Obviously, Derby have had no share of their issues this season in terms of what they're going through as a football club, and obviously their captain kind of leaving for a free to us isn't ideal for them. But you know, we need to take what we can get, really. So I've not watched an awful lot of Derby myself. I don't tend to watch the Championship too much, but from what I've heard and read about him, he is a fairly decent player. I looked through his kind of stats for Derby over the last 5 seasons. Generally played over 30 games a season for Derby, and his scoring record and assist record over the last couple of seasons has been fairly decent, really decent when you compare it to the attacking midfielders we've got. So I think this is quite a bit of good business for Rangers, getting in a free, low risk. He is an international player, but I don't think he's played for Wales since prior to the 2020 Euros. I don't know what's happened there, if he's just been someone's overpassed him in that squad or not, but yeah, an international player. We know how long he's signed up for? I couldn't see anything when I looked at stuff today.
3 years.
Is it 3 years? Is it 3 years?
Yeah, so I mean that's a decent length of time for a 28-year-old. So no, I think this should be pretty decent signing for us. From what I've read, from people that I kind of I've read in the past before, he does seem to be a good option. I have seen, like you, some wee comments that were coming out. Not sure what it'd be. I looked on the Derby Telegraph news site today just to see some of the comments from the Derby fans, and I think they're similar to what you've maybe seen from Rangers fans on Twitter. Some players, or some people, call him petulant, too aggressive, incompetent. One person called him, but others have been saying that he's one of these players that's capable of spectacular, can score amazing goals and dance around the defence. So now I'm looking forward to him. It's a fairly low risk signing for us, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree, mate. I think that there isn't very much risk in it. Again, it's not one that, and again, maybe that's my own idealisation of Rangers, that it's not one that I'm like, oh, amazing, fantastic, this is going to be world-changing, but maybe it will be. Generally, maybe it will be. I think to beat competition from Championship makes me think that he's wanting to probably playing European football, which is good. That's a good thing that he's got that ambition. So yeah, and like I say, to keep away Sheffield United, who would offer more wages than us, there's absolutely no doubt about that they would offer more wages than us, and he still came here. So no, I'm looking forward to it. From what I've heard, he likes a shot. Which always comes in handy, I suppose, Ali, against the back 10 of most of the Scottish football, the way they line up. But you said just before we come on here, mate, that you think this is a good signing.
Yeah, I've seen him quite a few times, to be honest. For my sins, watched the Championship football that's always on a 12:30 on a Saturday before I would go out and meet Scotia usually. So I would usually watch that. So to be honest, I've seen him quite a few times for Derby over the years, and I think he's a good player, Tom Lawrence. He was part of that trio for Derby where they went out drink driving and injured their captain, Martin Keogh. He got injured. So I hope he doesn't take Tav out of the car and injure him. But I injured Keogh and he ended up getting sacked, I think. But the only reason Derby didn't let Lawrence go was because he was a bit of a prize asset at the time for them. So they couldn't really get rid of him. But I think he's a very good option. We lack in the midfield, and how many times do we shout at Kamara, Ryan Jack, the rest of them, Davis, they don't shoot. This boy will shoot. To me, you'll play the number 10 for Rangers. It'll be Lundstrom and another of Jack Kamara, and it will be Lawrence sitting in front of him, I can imagine. He can play out wide too. I think Derby play him probably out on the left, I think he is, but I see him more as a 10. From what I've seen him over the years with Derby, that's kind of where he plays, as a 10. And he likes to get forward, and like I say, he likes to shoot. His numbers, as Scotia alluded to, if you look at his numbers are good in terms of goals. I think last season he scored 10 goals for Derby. In a poor Derby team, obviously they had their financial troubles and nearly survived last year under Rooney, but I think he'll be a good signing. He's a free. He'll be on a good wage, though, at Rangers. Similar to Lundstrom, that kind of idea. But 28 years of age, decent age. Yeah, I think it's a very good sign for Rangers. That's not going to be a marquee signing, if you want to say it. I still think there's going to be a marquee signing coming in. Hopefully that right-hand side that we've been crying out for. But I think he's a very, very good addition to Rangers and what we've been crying out for in a goal-scoring midfielder. And I'm looking forward to seeing him because I think he's a very positive signing.
Well, I'm going to juggle about the way I was going to do things, and I'll come to a bit that I didn't know we were really going to have time to speak about. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Generally, he was captain of Derby, so he can't be poor. Do you know what I mean? He can't be bad, and certainly a better option than some of the names that I think we were getting linked with. So I'm looking forward to it. But I'll jump to that just as you mentioned it, mate. Rangers have now brought in, well, if you class Suter as a transfer for this window, which I suppose he is, Suter, Cholak and Lawrence for a combined £2 million, thereabouts anyway. So I'll come back to you, Ali, just because you said you still expect a kind of marquee signing. Do you expect a £4 million, £5 million sort of player to come in, or is this the kind of model we're going to follow where we not so much shop in the bargain bucket? I don't mean it like that, but try and find the loopholes and try and find the best deals possible, which does make sense business-wise, but as fans, you're always screaming out for something to make you sit forward and take notice.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, Tom Lawrence, for instance, if he was in a decent contract, Tom Lawrence, at 20 years of it, he'd be decent money to sign him. It'd be decent money to sign him.
That's true. That's true.
If he was on a contract, yeah, you're correct. Rangers may go down that route of trying to find guys, John Lundstrom type guys on frees that would have cost big bucks. But no, I think Rangers, there's money at Rangers. Joe Aribo's going to Southampton for up to 10 million, maybe 6 million up front. The parts and deal, the money we made in Europe last season. I still think potentially another player could go, blue chip player. No, I think Rangers will spend money, and I think it'll be that right side. Like you say, that 4 or 5 million. What was Ryan Kent? 6, 7 we paid for him.
7, I think 7.
Yeah,
7.5.
Yeah, I think if the right guy was there, i.e. Ryan Kent level money, that's as high as we'll go, I'd imagine. If the right guy's there for the right hand side with what we've been crying out for, yeah, I think Rangers will do it. I think they will. A guy that you could sell on, though, not a guy maybe in his later years, but a guy round about early 20s where you could bring him in, develop him. He's already developed, but you know what I mean, develop him further and sell him. But yeah, I think I'd like to think Rangers will spend money on a blue chip player. I really do.
Yeah, I would like to think so as well. But again,
you look across. I mean, Carney, you look across. I don't like talking about them, but you look across the city, and they've spent $6 million in Jota and $6-7 million on that Carter Vickers. So I mean, they're spending big bucks across there. So we need to kind of come to the party at times. So I fully expect Rangers to buy a blue chip player, if you want to say, not what Premiership levels of stupid money, but I would say Ryan Kent level is your top bracket, what we paid before.
Yeah, I would like to think the club would do that. I'd like to think they would take that opportunity. Scotia as well. Hadji's looks like he's going to be out now. We don't really know the timescales for Hadji. He is back with the team, but there's reports that it's going to be after the World Cup because he's got big rehab ahead of him. He's got a large stint of rehab ahead of him, so it could be after the World Cup. So, what's your opinion? Do you think Rangers will continue with this strategy now, or do you think there is somebody in the pipeline kind of lined up? And I know this is all hypothetical, mate, but as I say now, without getting shouted at again for saying that we're not going to sign Laudrup again. I know we're not going to sign Laudrup again, but a man can dream. Do you know what I mean? Let me have my dream. But I would like to think Rangers are going to, but Ali does make a good point. It's difficult, this, because Ali makes a good point that if Lawrence was on a contract, he's not coming to Scotland for less than 8-9 million due to where he plays football. And I'm not saying he's an £8-9 million player, but in terms of English football, he probably is. I would imagine some team in the Premiership, lower end of the Premiership, would have paid that for him if he was in contract. So what do you think, mate? Do you think there's a big one coming?
Yeah, I think there's still, it's like Ali, similar to Ali, we probably do need a player out in the right wing. And I would like to think that was going to be the big signing that would make. I think any other transfer that comes in is probably just going to be a like-for-like replacement, or just to give a wee bit extra numbers in a certain position. If anyone moves on, obviously Lawrence coming in looks like he's going to be a replacement for your Aribo type player in the kind of 10 role. So I think we do need someone out in the right wing. But it was interesting. I know you mentioned back a wee bit previously in the pod about the 3-5-2 for how are we going to set up next season? Are we going to set up how we've been setting up the last couple of seasons, as sort of 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 type formation, or could we see that 3-5-2 formation with Čolak and Morelos up front a wee bit more often? And if that's the case, then it got me thinking, because these signings have now been confirmed, that need for a right winger, on like a big money right winger, isn't really needed if you're playing the 3-5-2 type formation, because obviously you would have Tav as your kind of working on the wing there, and your midfield would be Lundstrom, Lawrence, and one of Jack Kamara, etc. at the moment. So, but I do still think that Rangers will be sniffing about for a right winger, because we've needed a right winger for a fairly long time now.
Yeah, I would like to think so as well. But again, all these things are kind of hypothetical, but it's all worth thinking about, because everybody's mind's starting to tick over now, because the signings have started happening, the business has started to happen while moving about. So you do start to think, right, okay, so we go. I still think there's going to be more. I don't think we're done yet. I think there's definitely going to be more, and especially even if we are going to the 3-5-2. I know Scott Wright's there, but Scott Wright isn't going to offer you defensively what James Tavernier would offer you. So there's also a question to happen there about how we would set up that way, if that makes sense. We would have no real cover. And Zukowski, do you see the size of him, by the way? He's put on some amount of beef, isn't he? In a good way, though. Like he's certainly muscled out, but God, that picture I seen online, I was like, the size of him. He's looking good. But yeah, interesting to see. So Joe Aribo, we'll move on to Joe. Looks like he's pretty much on his way out. I think it's pretty much confirmed, near enough. Reports are Southampton have agreed the $6 million up front. for the Rangers player with add-ons, which will bring the total cost to closer around 10 million. And obviously Rangers have included a sell-on clause for that, because if he goes to another Premier League club, it's going to be for a significant amount, you would like to think. Giovanni Van Broncast, the interview that he done with Sky Sports, he did say Joe is an important player for us. He's done really well over the last few years. Joe has ambitions to play in the Premier League, and that is what is going to happen. He's been fantastic for the club. I did talk to Joe about the future, but Joe wants to develop himself, and playing in the Premier League gives Joe the chance to find his level. However, this is what you want as a club, to bring players in, develop them, and sell them on at a profit. Ali, he is your boy. We signed him for 300 grand, mate, and we're selling him on for a significant amount. 6 million might seem a bit low, and it probably is, but he is in the last year of his contract, and the add-ons will take it up to closer to 10. It's probably the best we're going to get.
Yeah, it's a shame to let him go. It's the player model that we need to do, but we can't let a lot of these players run down to the last year of the contract. We need to cash in earlier, which hopefully Rangers will learn from. Hopefully we can tie up Kent and Morelos on contracts, but that's another story. But no, to sign a guy like Joe Aribo for 300 grand, 3 years of service out of him. Last season, I mean, the first half of last season, the guy was unplayable. Always remember that St Mirren game we went to last year, Carney, and he scored that screamer. And because you're quite close to the park there, we were looking at him going, "Look at his size of Joe Aribo.
It's massive.
He's got everything." And I was down in Exeter this week at my work, and my managing director, he's a big Southampton fan. And I was saying to him, and he was saying to me, he says, "Oh, we're linked with one of the guys for you." And I was telling him, I was like, when I'm watching Joe Aribo, I says, 100%. The guy has got everything in his locker to go to the next level. And I said to them, some of them down there, and I says, he's got the potential to go to a top 4 club. I really believe he can go to a top 4 club. And some of them down there looked at me, as a lot of English people do look at you down there, think they're a bit of a diddy league up here, and we're like, no chance. I'm like, no, honestly, this boy, if he believes in himself, which I've said for donkeys, can go to a top 4 club. You look, Southampton, to be fair, is a good club as a stepping stone. Celtic sent they signed obviously Van Dijk. He's obviously seen where he's gone, probably the best defender in the world potentially. When Yama went there and moved on to Tottenham or something, so they're a good stepping stone club for a player like Joe Aribo. He won't. The thing with Joe Aribo is down at Southampton, and it might help him. He won't have the pressure that he gets playing at Ibrox every week. Up here, it's you need to win every week or it's a disaster. He's going down there and he can play his football, and they won't get in his back down at Southampton. God, it's a bit leafy down there. But I think he'll do well down there. And I know what you're saying about the transfer fee in terms of the 10 million release clause. We reportedly got 6 million up front and add-ons. Unfortunately, that's where we are at the moment. We have to. Joe Aribo has said to us, "I'm going end of the season regardless, next season." So we had to cash in, but I'd like to think the add-ons will be games played, etc. if they win a cup or that. But the more important one is the percentage fee of when Southampton eventually sell him on to a top team. That's when you get your extra bit of money for him. So I'm extremely sad to see Joe Aribo go, because, as you guys know, he's my favourite player. He really is. I think he's a tin opener. In terms of our team at the moment, you've got Ryan Kent and Joe Aribo. That's your tin openers for me.
Yeah. Scott
Wright, to an extent, the tail end of the season was a wee bit. That's why I think we still need to bring in a tin opener still. But not the bit praise to say about Joe Aribo. Great guy. Wasn't he great in press interviews? He was a wee bit quiet at times, but never gave Rangers any bother. Was a brilliant servant for our football club, and I wish him all the best. And I'm going to follow his journey, Joe Aribo, because I really honestly think he will go to a massive club in the future. And I'll be there when he does go to that massive club to turn and go, "I told you so," especially to the guys into my work.
No, I thought you were about to cry there, mate. I thought you were going to say,
"No, don't worry, I'll hold it." It was
before you said I'm going to follow his career, I thought you were going to say, "And I'm going to have a cry now." No, Scotia, it is what it is with Joe Aribo. Look, this is I get why people are a wee bit upset, and it's hard not to compare transfer money with other clubs, etc., etc. It is, but 300 grand and you're selling them for near enough 10 once the add-ons are on. I mean, that's crazy business. It really is. It's incredible business by Rangers. And for what we got out of Joe Aribo for 300 grand, I mean, yeah, he'll be fondly remembered because he was, at times, especially at the start of last season, he was unplayable.
Yeah, I think you've given me a wee question there because I think Ali just said about everything that you can say about Joe
Usually
Aribo.
does, man.
Yeah,
Usually
man.
does.
So yeah, no, so let's give him that. Yeah, at the start of last season, he was brilliant. Obviously, I seen a comment fly up there earlier about the AFCON. I think it just the amount of games that Aribo had to play last year, it did kind of take him out to him towards the end of the season. Then he was asked to play in that kind of false striker role when we had no other options. But Aribo, like Ali, there, he's been a great player for us. But for me, he's always just needed a wee bit more dig about him, a wee bit more in your face to be like that. And similar to Ali, he'll find that easier to do at Southampton than he has done up in Rangers. So it could potentially be a good move. And just to add on to the people commenting there about the fee for $6 million that's been quoted at the minute with the potential add-ons. I think the worry you've got to remember is that £6 million gone completely within 6 months if he doesn't go in this window. So Rangers are probably got a wee bit of gun to the held to their head situation where Southampton are going, look, listen, we'll give you £6 million now. You'll get X amount after games played. I don't know if there's going to be a sell-on fee. It's not going to be very big. It's going to be under 10%, I would imagine, the sell-on fee. And I would imagine that sell-on fee will be on profits made to kind of reduce the outlay for Southampton as well. But that's me just speculating. But I think you've got to remember where, with that $6 million, where Aribo is in his contract. And we could get nothing for him if we hold on to him for 6 months. So just need to take it, really, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it is, mate. It is one of the ones where you do have to go, okay, it is what it is. Joe Aribo has said he wants to move on. It's nothing against Joe Aribo. He's not turning around and saying that he's not enjoyed his time here or whatever. I mean, he's been to a European final and scored a goal in it. So, no, I wish him nothing but the best. I really do. I think if we don't do business properly, I think you will notice a bit of a hole with Joe Aribo, but I've got full confidence in Gio that he's got a plan in place to kind of ease that miss of him. He's a fantastic servant for the fantastic bit of business by the club, in my opinion. And as I say, I know the initial $6 million up front kind of gives people a bit of rush of blood to the head, but it will get to 10 million. And at the end of the day, that's the way football works. Southampton know fine well the situation. Joe Aribo's agent's going to have made them aware of that, and that's just the way football works. It's unfortunate, but if it was the start of the season and somebody offered 6 million, yes, I would have laughed at you and said not a chance. But we've got to the end of the season. He doesn't want to sign a new contract. He wants to leave at the end of his following season. It's got to happen. It's as simple as that. But all the best, Mr. Joe Aribo. So finally, just on something that we picked up on the interview with Sky Sports with Gio, he did say regarding players in the final season of their contract, he said interest in our players is not high at the moment, apart from Joe Aribo, obviously, and the club are in talks with these players that are in the final year of their current deal. Scotia, I'll come back to you. Morelos and Kent fall into that category, mate. With the imminent departure of Joe Aribo, would you now expect Kent and Morelos to sign a new deal? Because I would imagine the deal that both of them are going to get offered right now are going to be rather tasty.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. There was a comment there by James Glasgow saying what about with the sort of comment I had said about Aribo being in, sort of going into his last 6 months come the January transfer window with Kent and Morelos. It's a difficult one, but for me, Morelos, I would love to keep him, get him in a new contract signed down, because I think he'll be more important. The money that we would make off him in terms of the European stuff we could do with him in the team would be more important than the money that we'd get for him prior to, or for nothing, if you like, if we run his contract down. Probably similar with Kent, if I'm being honest. Morelos and Kent were two of the players out of sort of 4 or 5 we've mentioned over the course of the season that I would really struggle to see us replacing easily. Whereas Aribo, I've been more in the boot camp that we could possibly replace him. And with Lawrence coming in, like I say, that just, I mean, it almost looks as if Lawrence is coming in and he would fit in where Aribo's played recently. So I think we need to focus on getting them down on some contracts if possible, because I'd really like to see them keeping about, and I wouldn't like them to run down their contracts too much.
No, again, Ali, I think it is now important because of what we've just literally spoke about with Joe Aribo, that if the club intend to make profit and serious profit that won't have people flipping their heads that it's only 6 million or whatever. But I mean, I would hate to see Ryan Kent go for what we paid for him, and I would hate to see Morelos go for anything less than 10. So I think it's important that the club nail down our assets. So if a club come knocking, you're going to need to pay.
Yeah, out of the two, they're probably the two that you think could sign for us, because, as I've said previously in the podcast, Ryan Kent bounced about umpteen clubs, came to Rangers, fell in love. He's one of the main men at Rangers, and he loves it here. He loves playing for Rangers. I can see him signing Ryan Kent. I really could, and I'd be gutted as well. Can't see him go for like a figure like Joe Aribo. But you need to be realistic. That's what he potentially could go for in the last year of his contract, and we could lose him for nothing if he signs a pre-contract in January. So I've just got a wee feeling I could see Ryan Kent signing that. I just think I could. And the same with Alfie as well. I mean, God knows how many times we say about Alfie every bloody season he's going to go. I think we've said it the last 3 seasons, and he's not. But he's down to the last year of his contract now. But again, he's settled in Glasgow. He's got a wee kid. His missus looks fairly settled here. Like I said previously, he loves Sanctuary, so he loves it down there. He's got his own booth there. He can do what he wants down there. He can DJ, whatever. So I could see Alfie staying. There's that Champions League carrots there if we can get into it. I think that'll be a big sway in what happens too if we can get into Champions League. You could potentially see them sign, but it's up to them. They've got the ace cards, the two of them, so they can settle. They could do a Goldson if they want and settle on it and make us sweat like hell to the end of the season, and then see what happens, because they are holding the ace card. But yeah, I think at least one of them will sign. I think at least one of them will. But I would love for the two of them to sign. I really would, because as Scotia says, I don't think we can replace the guys. Ryan Kent, no chance. For the money to replace him, no. And then the same with Morelos. It would be very hard to do it. So I hope and pray the two of them sign.
I hope both of them. Yeah, I really do. In terms of, I'll go along with, I think I would see Kent signing more than I would Alfie. I think, kind of knowing Alfredo the way we've known Alfredo over the seasons, he'll just wait and bide his time and just let everybody freak out until like he decides that he's going to sign. I think him being injured has probably put teams off him. He didn't appear in the Europa League final, and that will put some teams off, and they may look to go elsewhere. As I say, both of them seem really settled here, but it's the world of football right now. Right now, if I was to put my hand on my heart and say who do I think is going to leave, if there is anybody else going to leave from Rangers, I wouldn't be able to tell you, because Aribo was in that, the blue chip players as Ali calls them, he was in that kind of pool of players that you thought would leave. Now that one of them's left, I'm like, that'll do. Please don't move anybody else on. Let's try and keep as many as we can. It's an interesting one, but out of the two of them, I can see Kent signing quite easily. I don't think he's in any real great desire to move on or move back to England based on, again, Ali, I'm painting the wall here again, considering what you've just said, but the amount of times he just didn't settle in the teams that he went to, his loan spells were all pretty much a disaster, but he's came here and made a right good go for it and read a name for himself. And I know people don't like him, but you're allowed to not like him. I think Ryan Kent is crucial to Rangers, I really do, but not as crucial as Alfredo Morelos, because I love Alfredo Morelos. Everybody knows I love Alfredo Morelos. It'll be interesting to see. If we are going to be able to sign these players up. And one other thing that's quite interesting though is there's no talk of signing Bassey up anymore. Like there's no real try. That's kind of died, isn't it? Like that's kind of died, as if we're just presuming that Bassey's not going to go. And I mean, the market is starting to pick up. So I'll finish with a question to you, Ali. Who do you think, if one other player is going to go, who do you think it's going to be?
Oh God. Just rattling my brain who I think could go here. Difficult. That's a difficult one, Carney. It's who do I want to go if I had to pick one, if you mean, or who do I think will go?
Who do you think will go?
I'm trying to think. I think potentially a Glenn Kamara. I know there's a couple of comments there. And to be fair, Glenn Kamara is the one that I would let go because I think we could replace him. And and there's other players that could go for not very much, but in terms of decent money, Glenn Kamara is the one for me. But I still don't think he'll. I don't know. Glenn Kamara. I'm going to go with Glenn Kamara. And I've got one last one for you, Carney, but I'll ask you after you've asked Scotia. It's by another guy, but Kamara.
Right, Scotia, go.
Yeah, I think looking at money to get really decent money back in for a player, then it would need to be Kamara because he's still sitting there with maybe 3 years left in his contract? Because he obviously, so he's still got quite a lot in his contract. So, yeah, if a really good offer came in for Kamara, it would be him probably for me.
Yeah, right, Alistair, what's your question?
I seen the man for Zambia linked as a loan move away to Auxerre. He's a bit of an enigma, Sakala, in terms of if you just don't know what you're going to get with him. What would you do with him if somebody come in with a serious bid for him or a loan to buy bid? Would you keep him? And then we've got Kovac now, you've got Scott Wright up there now, you've got quite a few options up there now. I know Kamara's always injured, but he's still there. But there's quite a few options through that front line. And we always talk about we could do with one more on the right-hand side, who is another guy you could play. If you bring the guy on the right-hand side, where's Sakala and all this list? Do you think he could potentially go out this summer on a kind of loan deal, possibly?
So I'll come to Sakala. First of all, I just have to put this up from Scott Robertson. Lewis Ferguson could replace Glenn Kamara. No. Do you know Ryan Haymarsh?
That's why Ryan gets sacked.
Have you been sent here by Ryan Haymarsh? Honestly, I see, in my personal opinion, generally, Lewis Ferguson is just a no-go because of the amount of money you need to pay. He's not worth it. In my opinion, he's not worth it. Aberdeen are not going to sell him cheap. So, no. Sakala, on the other hand, it's difficult, mate, because he is an enigma. He's very unpredictable in the way that he likes to play football. A loan move? No, I wouldn't bother. A transfer, but it's a decent offer. Yeah, I would probably sell him. I don't think I would hesitate to sell him. And a loan to buy, there's no guarantee they're going to take him, and he might be best for an option for us during the run-of-the-mill league games, if you like. So it's a difficult one, that, mate, with Sakala, genuinely. A lot of people like him, a lot of people don't. I like him. I think he's a great character. Brilliant. Can't fault his desire or nothing. His finishing just frustrates the absolute living daylights out of me. It really does. He kind of, and this is sacrilege to him because he's better than that, but he kind of reminds me of Sibo. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't fault that guy's effort, but he couldn't have bought a goal if he tried. And Sakala has scored. He's got a good scoring record. I get that. But it seems to be in the moments that you need him to do it. He doesn't. And you're like, he doesn't do it. So it's a difficult one. A straight up transfer, I would sell him. A loan, nah. There's nothing in it for Rangers and a loan. So nah, not for me. So Scotia, your opinions on Sakala?
Yeah, same as you. No way for a loan for me because he sits there now along with him and Ruth probably sit out as your third choice keeper between the both of them.
Keeper?
Did I say keeper? They're striker.
I wouldn't like to see him as a goalkeeper.
Yeah, sorry. There's a tongue slip. But we're getting off to a great start. Ryan started really well last week with a slip, and now me this week.
I said you were married, Carly.
That's right, so he did.
Yeah, but I think he's there as a kind of, with him and Ruth sitting there behind Jolak and Morelos at the moment, they gives you covers for the striker option, so wouldn't loan him out.
Nah. What do you think, Ali? What's your opinion on him?
I'd keep him. I just think he's that unpredictable. He's worth having thrown on because you don't know what you're going to get from him. He'll either be a world beater or absolutely garbage. But no, I'm the same. I think Rangers probably looked at a loan and thought, nah, same as you, Carney, we're not going to get much out of him. Unless somebody paid us a stupid amount. When I say stupid amount of money, maybe 3 million or something for him because we got him in a free potentially. But I'd keep him there because he's a wee bit different. I see him as a kind of natural novo type the way he plays. So I'd keep him about because he can play different positions for us. So it was just because I seen it and I thought, oh, Christ, Sakala, somebody's looking at him. But I'd keep him, and he's got a good song as well. So.
That's a good song. Yeah, so I might as well keep him because he's got a good song. Fabio Cardoso's song was one of my favourites.
That was a good one. Yeah.
That was a good one. That just reminds the nights I met you. Yeah. And look at him now, Porto or something now, isn't he?
Look at him now, yeah.
Unbelievable. So, look, in all seriousness, I'll give an ex-employee of Club at 22 his last hurrah in the sun. Lewis Ferguson, seriously, right? So, Aberdeen are asking 2 million for him, say 2.5 million. To me, it's no. It's just because I think the pressure of his name, everything else is going to go about it. People want him because of who he is. People also don't want him because of who he is. So it's a kind of double-edged sword. But purely footballing ability for 2.5 million from Aberdeen, for me, no. Ali?
No, I think Aberdeen would want more money from us for him to move to us. His Millwall has been linked with, so if he was to move to Rangers, he's moving to a rival that can hurt them more. So, and if they knew we were interested, they would want more for Lewis Ferguson. Don't you worry. But no, I know Ryan. I think Ryan's got a wee bit of a joke when he says to us in the group chat about it. I'd like to think he's not seriously on about it. But Lewis Ferguson, yeah, he's a good player. But I keep saying it, Carney. We want to go to the next level all the time, and nah, to me, sitting the bench at Rangers, that's what he is. Is he any better than what we have in the midfield at the moment? I would say no. So, no, it's a no for me.
Yeah. No, Ryan, everybody, so I see comments. Ryan hasn't been sacked or left. Ryan's on holiday. Ryan's on holiday again. No, I wouldn't do that. Honestly, I wouldn't do that. No, just winding him up because I'm sure he'll watch us back at some point. Scotia, Lewis Ferguson, yes or no?
What? For £2 million? I would. I'd take him for £2 million.
Scotia would they sell?
No, that's I'm not. Aye, Ali, let me finish what I'm about to say. I don't think Aberdeen would sell up to us for £2 million. It's similar to the situation we had with Suter when I said to you when Suter was linked with us just before the January window closed up, that I was like, no, Suter, our Hearts will want over £500,000 from us to get him before the summer. So Aberdeen again would go in and want so much more money. But I think the thing you've got to remember, like a player like Ferguson, he could go down south to Millwall, for example, for £2.5 million, have a good season there, move somewhere a wee bit higher up, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, we need Lewis Ferguson, let's bring him in, and he's unaffordable because of the league that he's playing in. So for about £2 million, I'd probably take a punt, because not really touched on him this pod tonight, but is Ryan Jack going to stay fit the whole season? History suggests otherwise.
Yes, you will. Yes. Don't you dare. No, I'm not having this conversation. Ryan Jack is not leaving. Don't start.
I'd say Scotia made a good point there in terms of if Ferguson goes to Championship, done well and move on. It's a similar scenario to when Celtic didn't pay to get John McGinn, and he went down to the Championship for £2.5 million because Celtic wouldn't pay the wages. And he's done well and moved on, and he's out with the price bracket for teams up here to pay. So it would be a gamble to take on, but still a no for me.
Again, I don't know if I can really pass comment on McGinn and stuff, because it's really all Scotland that I've seen him for, and he guy's just a myth to me. Generally, he's just an absolute myth. I don't see it. I don't see it. But what do I know? I know nothing. Right, look, that'll do us for tonight. Good to be back. Very good to be back. Ali, thank you very much for your time tonight, mate. In regards of tomorrow, we probably won't do a club reaction because I don't expect them to take much away from tomorrow night's game. If it turns out to be the game of our lifetime, I'll probably jump on and do something, or if the boys are about, we'll probably do something, but we'll probably not be on tomorrow night. But the games are coming back, and we'll definitely do some. I think we're all going to the Spurs game, so there's definitely going to be something from that, and we're going to take it from there probably. So for just now, it'll probably be next Friday again. But Ali, thanks very much, mate.
No problem. Good to have you back, Carney. I'm looking forward to having the famous Glasgow Rangers back tomorrow night, in which I think will be a bit of a training ground exercise. I think it could be one of the absolutely rotten games to watch. It's one of the games, that because you've not had Rangers for so long, and you build it up and it gets closer and closer, and you're like, oh, this is going to be really good. And you sit and go, oh, this is absolutely torture. I've got a feeling that's what it's going to be, but still, I'll be there watching it tomorrow night, and I can't wait to have Rangers back. And then it rolls into the games, the lead up to the start of the season. So that's what it is for me.
Yeah, Potato Man's having a go at me. One way and Scott is bailing out. If I was bailing out, I wouldn't have been here tonight, mate. No, I just, because of everything Ali's just said, it's like, there's not going to be much to take from tomorrow night. Trust me, it's part of pre-season training camp. Really, it's not really a really competitive game. So look, if I'm wrong, oh, come on, trust me. Scotia, thanks very much, mate.
No, cheers. Looking forward to tomorrow night as well. It's a decent time to watch it because I can remember back to all those times we were in pre-season out in the States, and I was getting up at ridiculous times to watch meaningless pre-season games out there. But it's what you do when you follow Rangers. So looking forward to seeing them back on the TV tomorrow night.
Definitely. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved in the comments. As always good to see you. It's good to catch up. As always, again, just like the videos and please subscribe to the channel. And as a thank you for sticking around with us to the end of the pod, if you go to 22merch.bigcartel.com and use the code podcast, you'll get 10% off your order. So, yeah, as I say, we'll be back next week, unless tomorrow night is the most incredible game of football ever, but I don't imagine it to be that. So I'd imagine it's going to be a 45 minutes and a 45 minutes with two completely different teams, but it will be good to definitely see Rangers back again. That is for sure. So yes, until next week, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the week. Enjoy Rangers being back in our lives after the summer break, and hopefully we get to see at least one of the new signings tomorrow night. So we are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.